That's it. I've had it with these crazy people. I need to remind them who's really in charge here. Ooh, a missile. Hey everyone, Brento here. Welcome to another episode of Dump City. Check it out, we have Space Y finished. We have all the requisite buildings, the crew cabin, the fuel tanks, and all the buildings required to launch rockets. And we've been doing so for a while now. We're actually now on the final quest of this stage of the campaign, which is to send some astronauts into the sun. Once we're done this, we'll finally be done this stage of the campaign. Oh good, a grown man should not be playing video games on camera. It's like a man playing with dolls. Who would ever watch such a show? So aside from a steady barrage of nuclear launches, what's on the show this week, you ask? Well, as you might have guessed, this episode is going to focus on covering the nuclear mechanics of Tropico 6. I'll share a bit with you called Nuclear Insurance Salesman. I assure you it is horrible and possibly somehow against the terms of service, or maybe even illegal at the federal level. But I will do it without consulting a lawyer, so that makes it okay. I then want to cover some ideas for Islamic motivated features I think would work well in the game. As you know, many of the suggestions I make in the show often end up in these games eventually, so you can say you heard it here first. We will of course do more tips for noobs at some point. Then finally we will launch this rocket and send it into the sun and watch some game spoilers. But before I go on long, insane tangents like I usually do, let's get caught up on what's changed in the world since our last episode. As you can see, we added quite a few fusion reactors to the world here. The year is now 2066. If you recall, we had a tough time filling our prisons in the late 2020s. There was a time in the 2040s when I managed to fill all these prisons. Partially because of my willingness to arrest people and partially based on policies I had at the time. But since then I've closed down these prisons. There's only one that actually technically works, but it doesn't even have any prisoners in it right now. Basically crime's gotten really low, so I don't have to worry about it so much. As you can see, most of the shacks are gone. People are now living in these nearby apartments. However, aside from our rocket programs, the biggest changes since last episode are the further improvement of our tourist island. Look at it now. If you recall in the previous episodes, most of the island was in ruins and it had no way to defend itself against rebels. I was actually thinking of making this the title of the episode, but I decided to tone it down a bit. I thought an episode about a rogue nation having nukes might be less politically divisive. Anyways, we built an army base with some MK2 tanks since last episode. This keeps us safe from rebel attacks. This, of course, is a tourist island targeting children, but serves the upper middle class very well too. Again, watch the Moon Hotel episode if you want more in-depth coverage of the game's tourism mechanic. We created a casino for the kids, just like stock traders that gamble other people's pensions away on a whim. We train them early here. This is where the poor parents take their kids to dinner. Remember, if the food banks can't give it away, Garbaggio's makes it into a meal. When tourists visit the island, they like to stop at Dump Outlook. I've also created this isolated hotel in the woods. Maybe there's some adults around, maybe there aren't. I don't know. The children are isolated here. They're having a good time. Look, it's full. Look at this. Our hotel is completely full again. Remember this was shut down in the last episode? Remember our golf course being a big pile of rubble? Well, it actually has some golfers in it. There's plenty of attractions for young and old alike here. If we have a look at our beauty overlay here, we'll see that it's actually quite a beautiful island, except maybe around this dump area. And then we have the Statue of Liberty here. This is something new. Basically what this does is when immigrants arrive, they show up happy instead of miserable. And I wish I would have built this sooner because I wouldn't have had to have given them so many services if they would have just shown up happy in the first place. As you can see, Donald Dump is on his way to visit Dump Plaza Moon here on the island. This is new as well. It's not really on the moon, but Elon only has the rights to the moon brand on the moon. conveniently located on Earth. It's also an 11-star hotel, making it the best in the solar system. You won't get the moon crazies here either. We got rid of the rats and most of the rooms are perfectly usable. And this here, the Hagia Sophia, was a good choice of wonders too, given how poorly I treated my citizens in the early years. So basically what this does is prevent people from dying of low health care, which would have been an issue without it. So thanks to this wonder, people lived much longer. They were able to work in my factories longer and fund my missile program. And the last thing to do to complete our tour here is have a look at the White House. This was built since the last episode. So basically what the White House does is it makes half-price edicts, and if you're having difficulty generating positive cash flow in the game, this would be a really good building. I put it near the Space Y complex because I figured, hey, this is where politicians would probably hang out. If there was, service to Mars or something. Though, maybe we should rename Donald Dump's home now that the real White House was built in the game. How about Mar-a-Lago? There we go. One final thing on our tour. Now that we have so many fusion reactors, we shut down Jihad Solar to reduce expenses. This also saves us on the expense of the 3 workers we had here last week, if you recall. I wonder where they are now. So I've also changed the nuclear power plant here. It does uranium enrichment, so it's not producing as much electricity, but as you can see here, what it does is it increases the speed at which I manufacture bombs. Well, here's the workers. Yeah, these 2 were at the solar plant before. There we go. There they are. Look, good thing they got some jobs enriching uranium. There's actually 3 nuclear reactors on the map now, so we're getting the full 60% missile bonus for our nuclear program. Oh, we got another one ready to go here. We'll launch that right away. Oh my, we got quite a few fires here. Where's our fire copter? Oh my goodness. I've never seen two fires like this simultaneously. Oh, look at this. They got one. Are they going to get the other? Looks like these fire trucks are slow to put the fire out. How come how come that always puts it out, but these fire trucks can't do anything?
Presidente, I do not mean to worry you, but...
So anyways, back to the nuclear program here. So you're probably wondering, what's the point of sending these nukes? There's actually 2 benefits. The first one being that every time you send a nuke, the superpowers can't invade you. It gives you some sort of ability to prevent you from being invaded. And the other thing too is if we go into the standings here, every time you send one up, the militarists and the conservatives, you gain approval with them. So basically it keeps me in power longer without having to spend as much money on actually making my citizens happy, just like real life. Which reminds me, it's time to do the first bit of the show. Nuclear insurance salesman. So does your country have nukes? If not, have you thought about buying nuclear insurance? See, without nukes, your nation is always going to be susceptible to nuclear attack. And since private insurance remains legal in this time and age, this then means I can legally sell you nuclear insurance. In theory, at least. See, the way this works is you give me lots of money just like a normal insurance company collects, and I guarantee there will be no nuclear attack. If there is one, I promise to rebuild society with the fees I am setting aside on your behalf. Also, a portion of your premiums is set aside for anti-nuke lobbies. All you gotta do is send me some money and you'll be free from nuclear attack.
If you don't pay it, you're not protected.
See, this works like regular American for-profit health insurance. Yes, there are some exceptions in coverage, just like all insurance contracts. But we don't want to go over those details now, do we? This program is a lot more honest, too. See, it covers everything, and it ensures that everything you ought to have remains yours in the event of a nuclear attack. Allah forbid, am I right? What's this tank doing? It's better just to pay Americans as much money as you can. We didn't build these nukes for nothing. Alright, let's get back to the game here. Enough of this nonsense and looking at stuff here. So we got to build these rocket
Presidente,
parts here.
I do not mean to worry.
Let's have a look at our space mission here. We're still building rusty tanks. What do we need here? We don't have enough aluminum. So let's just check what we can do about that. I have some warehouses here. Maybe there's some in stock. Okay, there we go.
Today saw an end to Caribbean trade sanctions with the superpowers after El Presidente beat their representatives at a golf club. Sorry, correction, with a golf club.
Yes, that's more accurate. So yeah, we got this aircraft carrier here, so that makes our military defense a little bit better. One thing we have done is we've actually improved our policing quite a bit. So we got like a new police station here. We got a police station here. You'll notice too that the work mode here is crooked cops for just as usual. Even the future, we still do the same thing. We rob the poor people. Because it makes Swiss money. I need it, right? It's handy. Oh, there we go. We had some action with the jet fighter. Oh, and also remember last week when we kicked Russia out of the embassy and we put China in its place? Let's ask for some free money. We now have an alliance with them. What were you expecting? China? Oh, while we're in this part of town, that reminds me. We forgot to do the only part of the show people actually find entertaining. Once again, it's time for more tips for noobs. So the first tip is, are you trying to keep your people happy without giving them services? Well, build the El Presidente Club. I believe this building came with the Lobbyistico DLC. And if you notice here with our factions, we have these little red markers here. Basically what it does is you get to invite one of each of these pairings. Like let's say I invite the conservatives, then the intellectual leader will be removed from the El Presidente Club. Right now we have the capitalists, and we have the intellectuals, the environmentalists, and the militarists. Basically the people I want to bribe rather than give the services people want. When you invite one of these leaders, not only does it boost the standing, but they gain an ability. So basically with the capitalists here, every time I construct a building that would normally lower capitalist standing, it doesn't affect them. Here with the environmentalists, they get free edicts. I constantly put toxic waste in the ground, so if I have this ability with this guy, I guess they don't get upset about it. Normally the environmentalists get pissed off when you do that. There's all kinds of other options here that I don't know what they all do, but you know, this basically, it makes it so that you are more popular. You'll notice it's a little pricey to operate this building, but you do have a lot of options to influence elections. So if you're doing good with money, but not so good with popularity, El Presidente Club's a good option. The next tip here is this stage of distraction here with the broker. If you're wondering how this works, sometimes your standing gets very low. And if one of the factions is really pissed off at you and they give you an ultimatum, which is quite often very difficult to do, and you have a very limited amount of time to do it, if you get this stage of distraction ability here, basically it gives you an extra button where instead of having to deal with the reality of things, you can just click the button and problem goes away. They give you an ultimatum, you click the button, it's done. Kind of like the Iran war in the mid-2020s when the Epstein files came out, right? As you know, New Frontiers DLC comes with dome habitats and they provide services to your people. Why not hire a clown chef to keep them happy as well? This entertains them and provides food. I don't know if people here are getting fed, but hey, they're having a good time. Anyways, that's more tips for noobs. Uh-oh, we got some election problems here. How do we solve this? Well, we got some money, so I know the quickest way to solve it. This is how you always stay in power, and you don't have to do much else. We're almost done here. Look at that, we're going to get elected. A few other things here we're doing that will ensure our rocket gets fully manned. We got these billboards in our ghettos here to get people inspired to join the space program. Let's check out the status of our space mission here. How are we doing here? Okay, looks like everything's ready. We'll go here. We'll set our crew to 15. And start boarding crew. And let's go over here and let's send the spies.
Please excuse
This
me.
one, this one,
Busy.
this one, and this one. There we go. Now we'll just wait for that and we're almost done. All right, let's see how we do with the election coming up in a few months here. Actually, 1 month. While we wait for the election to complete here. One other thing I want to show you we also built some toy factories from last episode. This is also new. I believe the toy factories come with the Llama of Wall Street add-on along with the Trade Institute. So I've set this work mode to basically use logs with this toy factory and this one here.
That was a close one, Presidente.
Ooh, it was a close
Apparently
one.
Some
Should pay more
citizens
attention.
need to be reminded just how much they love you.
Basically, these toy factories let you dynamically choose some spare resources. Okay, let's send another one. So while we wait for our spaceship to get boarded and our next missile here to launch here, I want to show you basically a few other things in the game. So one other thing too we haven't covered in the game here is this Tropocoin Farm. Long story short is you convert power to money, just like real crypto, which is kind of a scam if you think about it, because it's just basically some private dude saying, give us your money and it will be worth more. But that's what you do, you know, with people who have a lot of extra money. So you can basically sell these for money. This could be worth 11,000 one day, 88,000 the next day. It's just completely random. And there's these upgrades. You don't have to necessarily take the money. You can actually take some of these options to purchase a wonder as well. And while we're waiting for our spies to get into the ship and mercifully end this episode, one other thing too is I got a whole bunch more office buildings. I've basically got 3 types of office buildings set up, and I've also created the tax haven edict too since the last episode. See this here? Basically, it's increasing the revenue of my offices. This has been maxed out with, you know, this is now level 2. I think it starts at 10% or something like that. But basically, each one of these offices gives me money. And I believe the best one is just this corporate business here. So it gives you $2 for each of your citizens. So that's like $4,000. Plus I'm getting a 25% bonus because of the edict. I got, you know, the official business and the other one here, consumer business. If you choose the same work modes for these offices, you start getting diminishing returns. So you want to diversify them a little bit, but you'd have to do a bit of a number crunch to look at, you know, the benefits of each work mode. I won't go into each detail, but if you're going to build several office buildings, the point is combo that with tax haven. I'm missing a Big Mac. I only got one. Hey, can you add an extra filet-o-fish to go with that too? Yeah, I ate the other 2. I just like one extra if that wouldn't be a problem. All right, let's check out how our quest is doing here. How are our spies doing? 11 of 15, just a few more to go. We're almost done, but I just want to share one last bit before we end this stage of the campaign. So as you know, this is being recorded in the late 2020s. There's a lot of crazy things going on, and the US was just schooled basically by Iran on how to launch missiles. So I'm thinking, wouldn't it be an interesting idea to add an Islamic component to this game? You know, like how about churches with a work mode convert to Islam? You know, maybe this work mode would affect how fast missiles get built because, you know, after watching Iran's capabilities, I have to think that it improves missile production. Perhaps, too, this could benefit the Middle East somehow. So basically, for any Americans watching this, too, who don't know what Sharia law is, it's basically when you're not a douchebag. That's what Sharia law is. It's like an informal law of not being a jerk to people. So why not put something like that as like an edict or perhaps a type of law, right? Or like, you know, how there's like the Constitution in this game here. Maybe it would be a type of law, okay? But I think it could work as an edict too, just as a general principle. Maybe But if it was in the Constitution, maybe it affects the income of the courthouse and lowers crime, could be the effect of it. Imagine at least one Muslim person is watching this now. But just so you know, you're listening to a guy whose knowledge of Islam is based on Lego movies seen on YouTube. Maybe a Middle Eastern billionaire could make a fun Iran spoof DLC. How about Missile Mania or Talibanned? It could probably include media mechanics prevalent in the 2020s America as well. How about a bank work mode that instead of collecting taxes, it spends all that money to amplify the strength of pro-capitalist media outlets? Perhaps the bank work mode could be a 300% boost to all media buildings, influencing people in favor of capitalism. That's it. No other benefits. Just make you pro-capitalist, just like real-life capitalism. Also, while we're at it, let's add some more politicians in the ministry here. I think we could have 5 new ones for each category here. Maybe multiple broker candidates that steal hundreds of dollars, in fact. Maybe they have a negative impact on your people too, just like real life politicians. When they do that, they steal the money for themselves and externalize the cost to the public. Definitely have more broker candidates that give me more Swiss money. How does that sound? Also, how about an upgrade at the Ministry of Information while we're at it? A feature like corporate algorithm sharing or something like that. Basically, where corporations all share media teams to make everyone with access to electricity.
Among the rebels to orchestrate.
Basically, it would make everyone pro-capitalist so long as they have electricity, no other tangible benefit, just allegiance, something that can never be stopped unless you disable the Ministry of Information. Yes, someone in the CIA just added me to a list somewhere for that line. But don't worry, folks, I'm too mentally stable to be a real threat. But you know what? I've had it with this game. Let me now demo an edict I haven't shown before. Nuclear testing. See how that works? $100,000 in free money. Also, our citizens will die much easier now too. So the way that works is basically if you could survive with 10 points of healthcare, now it requires 20 for a citizen to survive. We don't need to get elected again, so who cares about the long-term penalty now?
Want to make a quick buck? Superpowers will pay a tidy sum to conduct a few small thermonuclear tests. This is bound to be popular with the local residents, especially if you tell them radiation will give their skin a healthy glow and help them save money on haircuts.
All right, there we go.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so glad this deal worked out for us.
The broker wanted it too. All right, if we hit play again here, and we went from 59% to 19%, just like that. So generally, if you need the money early in the game, I would not recommend it. But at the end of the game here, hey, why not? A few extra dollars doesn't hurt anyone. And everyone here is pretty miserable now. Let's check this out. How are we doing? Are we ready to launch our space rocket here? Oh, look, I found the missing worker from Jihad Solar. Turns out he's now working for the nuclear program. Great to see he found a new job and didn't become a YouTube terrorist. All right, I think we're almost done here. Surely the spies are all loaded and ready to go now. Let's check out our space mission. Just waiting on this one last person here. All right, our last foreign spy is entering the spaceship. Almost done here. Almost done. The final stage. And what I'm going to do, just for fun, I'm going to launch the actual rocket from Space Y and a missile at the same time to see which one goes faster. We'll get to watch some cinematics here in the last stage here and see what happens as we continue progress through the campaign. All right, we're ready. We're ready to launch. Let's do it. Okay, I'm going to hit launch right now. And I'm going to combine that. Hold on a second. I'm going to hit pause for a second. And I'm going to combine that with a nuke launch. We'll also flex muscles. And there we go. We've launched them both. We'll see which one makes it out first. I noticed things are a little hazier since our nuclear testing. There's our nuke going up. And our New Frontier ship is much slower. Much slower. I guess it's got all that payload with it. And it's going to take off here. And we're going to get to watch some cartoons and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm new to this. I've never played this campaign before. I'm showing it to you for the first time. What this looks like at stage 4 out of 5 in New Frontiers.
Spies among the rebels to orchestrate it out.
And that came up again. And I think we're done the campaign and we're going to win the game finally. All right, let's see what happens now.
This is your captain speaking. There's no cause for concern, Presidente. If I were physically capable of trying, then... come to think of it, we could install a little spectre system with a remote switch and...
That seems...
My point is, if I could cry, this would be the moment.
It seemed muffled. I don't know what's going on there.
Tropico, we are ready for liftoff.
Icarus 1, you are cleared for launch.
3, 2, 1. Liftoff!
Good riddance! Say hello to the sun for me!
This is your captain speaking. We have a beautiful day for our launch. Our onboard temperature is predicted to reach a pleasant 22 million degrees. Don't panic. Feel free to purchase some in-flight snacks to make your inevitable demise more pleasant, as you will soon be atomized by the power of the sun. Thank you for flying with us. Your eye in the sky is reporting in, Presidente. Our little problem has officially evaporated.
Excellent! Finally some peace and quiet. Nothing to distract us now. Nothing at all.
Presidente?
I was waiting for something to happen. We never have just peace and quiet. There's always something going wrong somewhere.
I'm sorry, but everything's going our way.
Well, in that case, let's get started on...
Presidente, we may have a problem.
Of course. What is it now?
It's the sun. There's an eruption right where we threw those spies in. It's coming right at us. A massive wave of...
All right, we're back to the menu here, and basically we're going to start the next one here. Race to Mars. Okay. And I'm going to queue this up for next week. This will be our final 3 episodes. Will be on this map. We'll put all this DLC on. And we will start this mission.
Any news from Patch?
No, sadly not. Our communications are still mostly out. This isn't a phone. It's a cop on a string. That's all we have right now.
How bad is it? How long till we can get back on track with the Mars project?
Well, it's hard to say. We lost so much in that storm, we have to start all the space technology from scratch again and...
Ah! Damn it! We were this close! Now we're stuck on this godforsaken planet for who knows how long! Ah!
Whoa! Who's throwing chairs? Hey, Prez. This thing on? Long time no see, Prez. Heard you got a little problem there with, well, everything.
All right, we're starting over again here with our Race to Mars campaign, and I'll get this set up for the next episode. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week.